In this video, I'm going to show you how to connect a VPN after Tor in Qubes version 4.2. In addition, I will show you how to connect a VPN over a normal Clearnet connection, as well as provide some context and disclaimers around using VPNs with Tor in general, and specifically with Qubes. If you want to skip straight to the VPN after Tor setup, please find the timestamps in the description below. If you're coming across this video without specifically searching for it, you might wonder what the benefit would be from connecting a VPN after Tor. After all, using the Tor network with Tor browser, especially when used in an operating system like Tails, Unix, or Qubes, offers the strongest online anonymity currently available. The problem is, however, that the Tor network is abused by hackers and scammers, and that all Tor exit node IP addresses are publicly known. Because of this, many websites will either completely block Tor exit nodes, or they will make using their website extremely difficult. They may require you to solve seemingly endless CAPTCHAs, prevent you from making accounts, or require you to verify your identity somehow every time you log into your account. Mainstream tech platforms will also probably shadow ban your content, such that even after you successfully jump through all the hoops and manage to post something over Tor, they will restrict the distribution of your content such that almost nobody will actually see it. VPNs are conceptually similar to Tor in that your true IP address is concealed from the website you're visiting, but they are practically different in that use of VPNs is extremely widespread. Consider how often you see ads for VPNs on YouTube or podcast channels. VPNs are also quite fast compared to Tor, so the use of a VPN is fairly seamless in most situations. I'm sure that many big tech sites would prefer to treat VPNs with similar hostility as they do Tor exit nodes, but this would dramatically impact their business model of keeping as many users as possible on their site for the longest duration possible in order to maximize ad revenue. I've tried in the past to make all my content on Tails and use Tor exclusively to create accounts and produce videos. My general assessment is that if you're going to use mainstream tech platforms such as YouTube, using it over Tor is not viable. So you may be asking, why not use a VPN by itself without having Tor involved at all? To fully answer this question would be beyond the scope of this video. Please refer to my video, How to Create Content and Not Get Doxxed, Part 2, Operating Systems, or refer to The Hitchhiker's Guide to Online Anonymity, linked in the description. Using a VPN by itself is better than nothing, but there are too many ways your identity could be compromised as opposed to chaining a VPN after Tor. For one thing, if you pay for the VPN service with Monero and only connect to the VPN site and VPN app over Tor, the VPN service has no way of knowing anything about you and couldn't hand over or sell any useful information about you. Almost all VPN providers claim they do not keep logs, but you have no way of actually independently verifying this. This is just one of many reasons as to why a VPN alone is not considered to be sufficient for maintaining online anonymity. There are some drawbacks of using a VPN after Tor. Mainly, it defeats some of Tor's anonymity features. The first is that you have to use something other than Tor browser. Tor browser is designed such that all users appear the same to any website they visit. Normal Clearnet browsers like Firefox or Brave browser do offer some fingerprinting resistance, but not to the degree of Tor browser. The second issue is that using a VPN defeats the stream isolation feature of Tor. If you're using multiple tabs in Tor browser, it will use a different Tor circuit for each website. This is intended to mitigate correlation attacks where an outside observer can infer your identity from what websites you may be using simultaneously. For these reasons, I would advise only using VPN after Tor to log into mainstream tech websites to manage your content. All your research and other general web browsing should be done with Tor browser, or more specifically, Unix workstation when using Qubes. And one final note, in the past, using VPNs within Qubes was actually much easier. You could download the OpenVPN configuration file, then open it within the network settings of a Fedora Cube, and it would work with no further configuration. However, many things changed in Qubes 4.2, so it's actually easier now to use the Linux apps than it is to use the native OpenVPN configuration. So keep that in mind if you find VPN instructions online somewhere that use OpenVPN. Before attempting them, check to see when it was posted. So with all that preamble out of the way, let's get to the tutorial. First, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up a VPN after Tor. For this, I'm going to use IVPN, which is a highly respected VPN company that accepts Monero for payment. Most of the instructions I'm using come from this post on Qubes forums, linked in the description. To begin, open up Qubes Manager and create a new cube. Name it something like sys, VPN, Tor. For the type, select standalone VM. For the template, select Debian. For networking, select sys-Unix. Then click Advanced and check the box that says Provides network access to other cubes. Then click OK. Once the cube is created, open a terminal in the newly created cube. Now we're going to install the IVPN app using the instructions from their website. Simply copy and paste each command from the website into the terminal. Since I have the instructions open in a different cube, I have to use the 4-step copying process. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-Shift-C, then Ctrl-Shift-V, then right-click and select Paste. If this process is unfamiliar, see my previous video on using cubes for a more detailed explanation. Do not copy the last command. This is for the command line version of the app, which we will not be using. Since the AppCube networking is set to sys-Unix, the app is being downloaded over Tor, so it will take a few minutes. I sped up this part of the video considerably. Once the app is installed, we need to make some adjustments to get the DNS to work properly. In the terminal, type cd/rw, then type cd-config. Now that we're in the proper directory, type sudo nano rc.local. Using this Qubes forum post, copy this section of code and paste it into the terminal using the same 4-step process as before. Once it's pasted, press Ctrl-X, then Y, then press Enter. The final configuration setting is to make sure the networking access will be automatically disabled if the VPN fails for some reason. If you're using a website that is very hostile to Tor IP addresses, and if your VPN fails and the website sees a request coming from a Tor exit node instead of the VPN, this could potentially jeopardize your account. To make sure this doesn't happen, we need to copy this bit of code into the Qubes firewall user script file, as shown here. To get the DNS and kill switch settings to take effect, we need to restart the cube. Go back to the Qubes manager, right-click on the VPN cube and select Restart. Once the cube has restarted, we need to add the VPN app to the menu. In the Qubes manager, right-click on the VPN cube, select Settings, then Applications. Find the IVPN app and move it from the left column to the right column, then click OK. Next, open the IVPN app. First, you'll need to enter an account number. I purchased a 1-week temporary account for this video. Once you're logged in, we need to adjust a few settings. Click the gear icon, then click Connection. Change the VPN protocol to OpenVPN and change the port to something with TCP. This is important. Tor operates over TCP, so this is the only port a VPN after Tor setup will work on. Then simply select your choice of server and connect. If you have trouble connecting, try a different server. To use the VPN connection, simply select your cube of choice and change the net cube to use our VPN cube, instead of sys firewall. To test this, you can open a web browser and search for your IP address. It should match the VPN address in the IVPN app. The next thing I will demo in this video is setting up a normal Clearnet VPN with Mullvad VPN. Changing from VPN after Tor to a normal VPN setup is as simple as changing the netcube from sys-Unix to sys-firewall. So this is more of a demo on how to set up Mullvad and Qubes than anything else. Also, by using two different VPNs like this, we can set up a VPN after Tor after VPN connection. Obviously, you would want to use two different VPN companies like we are doing here. Otherwise, if the VPN company is compromised somehow, the Tor connection in between wouldn't do you any good. Even though I generally discourage the use of a VPN by itself to maintain anonymity, a Clearnet VPN setup might be useful if you're trying to conceal from your local network that you're using Tor. This can also be accomplished with Tor bridges, but from my understanding, most Tor bridges are eventually discovered, so using bridges is an incomplete solution to this problem, in my opinion. Some possible exceptions are Snowflake bridges and Azure bridges, but both are brutally slow in my experience. As an aside, I was once in a situation where the only Wi-Fi I had access to attempted to block all VPNs and Tor. Their system was seemingly airtight. This was before Snowflake bridges existed, so the only thing that could break through was a Azure bridge. Anyway, if you use a VPN before Tor, the local network just sees you're connected to a VPN, which isn't that unusual in the general population, and you won't stand out as much as someone using Tor. For setting up the Mullvad VPN connection, I'll also be using another post from Qubes forums. The process is similar to setting up IVPN, but takes a few extra steps to configure the DNS properly. So to begin, again create a new cube. Name it something like sysVPN Clearnet. Select a standalone VM. Leave the networking as sysfirewall. In the advanced settings, check the box that says provides network access to other cubes. Once the cube is created, open a terminal. On the Mullvad website, they have command line instructions for Debian. Simply copy each of these into the terminal, again using the 4-step process described earlier. This install will be much faster since it's not using Tor for the networking. Once the app is finished installing, we need to install an extra package that is used by the DNS script. In the terminal, type sudo apt install inotify-tools. Once this is complete, type cd/usr, then cd local, then cd bin. The file we're supposed to edit doesn't actually exist, but the command to edit it will create it anyway. Type sudo nano mullvad-dns.sh. Copy the code from the guide into the terminal, then press Ctrl X, then Y, then Enter. We then have to change permissions for the file to make it executable. Copy the command from the guide here and paste it into the terminal. Next, edit the same file we edited earlier, rc.local, under the rw/config directory. Add the one line as indicated here in the guide. Finally, we need to add a few lines of code to implement the VPN kill switch. Edit the Qubes firewall user script file and add the 2 lines as indicated. To implement the DNS and kill switch settings, we need to restart the Qube. Once the Qube has restarted, add the Mullvad VPN app to the menu. Now open the app. As with the IVPN app, you'll first need to log in with an account number. This is a temporary account I purchased for 1 month, so it will probably still be active when this video is published. Feel free to use it, if you wish. Since this VPN isn't running through Tor, no special configuration is necessary. Just select your preferred geographical location and click Connect. I'm now going to configure the personal Qube to use this VPN Qube as its net Qube in order to verify that it works. To test if the kill switch works, I'm going to disconnect the VPN, then attempt to access DuckDuckGo again. As you can see, Firefox can't connect. Once we reconnect the VPN, DuckDuckGo loads and shows the expected IP address. The final thing I will demo is chaining the Mullvad VPN before Tor with the IVPN app after Tor. To achieve this, first we need to change the net Qube of sys-Unix from sys-firewall to sys-VPN Clearnet. Now all Tor traffic will be routed through the VPN first. Now let's check Tor browser to make sure Tor still works. Now I'll open the same Qube I used for VPN after Tor and reconnect the IVPN app. And success. This demonstrates one of the massive advantages of Qubes. It has great flexibility to easily configure any given Qube to provide network access to another. You could potentially chain together numerous VPNs if you want, and put Tor in between them anywhere you want as well. So that's all I wanted to demo in this video. My next video, most likely, will cover Monero and how to make anonymous purchases online. Thanks for watching.